What if I told you that one of the foods many Americans over 60 eat every single day, often believing it's healthy and safe, is quietly damaging their nerves and increasing their risk of neuropathy, balance problems, and nighttime pain? Not a chemical, not alcohol, not something rare, but something sitting in your kitchen right now. I'm not talking about managing symptoms or masking pain. I'm talking about understanding why so many older adults develop tingling, numb feet, burning sensations at night, or that unsettling feeling of instability, and why it often worsens while they're sleeping, when the body is most vulnerable. After decades working with seniors, I can tell you this: nerve damage rarely comes out of nowhere. It builds silently, fueled by habits that seem harmless on the surface. In this video, I'm going to walk you through specific fruits that can quietly stress aging nerves, why the risk changes after 60, and how small daily choices may shape your mobility, sleep, and independence over the next 1 to 5 years. Because once nerve damage crosses a certain line, we don't get unlimited chances to undo it. And most people don't realize they're approaching that line until it's already too late. Before we dive in, if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you hit that button and turn on the bell so you never miss another health tip made just for you. If you enjoy this video, type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0 to let me know how I can make better content for you. Fruit number 1, bananas. When a gentle fruit quietly turns against aging nerves. Most seniors are shocked when I say this, so let me start with a question that stops people cold. What if the food you reach for when you want something easy on your body is quietly stressing your nerves every single day? Bananas are often seen as the safest fruit for older adults. They're soft, easy to chew, gentle on the stomach, and widely recommended by doctors, caregivers, and even hospitals. Many seniors eat a banana in the morning because it feels light. Others grab one in the afternoon when they feel tired or shaky. On the surface, it seems like a smart, harmless choice. Neurologically, however, bananas can become a problem after 60, especially when nerve health is already vulnerable. Here's why this matters. As we age, our ability to handle sugar changes. Muscles become less responsive to insulin, circulation slows, and nerves, especially the long nerves in the feet and hands, become more sensitive to chemical stress. A ripe banana contains a concentrated amount of fast-absorbing natural sugar, with relatively little fiber to slow it down. When that sugar enters the bloodstream quickly, blood glucose rises sharply. For aging nerves, each spike acts like a small inflammatory insult. This is not about diabetes alone. Many seniors with perfectly acceptable blood sugar numbers still experience repeated daily spikes. Those spikes damage the tiny blood vessels that feed nerves, reducing oxygen and nutrients. Over time, nerve signaling becomes distorted. That's when tingling appears, then numbness, then burning sensations that wake people up at night. What makes bananas particularly deceptive is that they rarely cause immediate symptoms. The damage is gradual, silent, and easy to dismiss until it's not. Timing makes this worse. A banana eaten alone in the morning, or as a snack hits the bloodstream fast because there's no protein or fat to slow absorption. This is exactly how many older adults consume them. I often hear, "I just had a banana, nothing heavy." Unfortunately, for nerves, nothing heavy can still be metabolically aggressive. Another issue is frequency. Bananas are convenient, so they're eaten often. Day after day, the same pattern repeats: quick sugar rise, insulin surge, nerve irritation, and no real recovery window. Nerves do not regenerate quickly, and they do not tolerate chronic stress well. By the time symptoms appear, the damage has often been building for years. This doesn't mean bananas are poison or must be feared. It means they must be handled with respect after 60. Portion size, timing, and context matter. For many seniors with neuropathy symptoms, reducing or eliminating bananas can noticeably calm nighttime burning and improve stability over weeks, not because something magical happened, but because one source of repeated nerve stress was removed. And here's the uncomfortable truth most people never hear: bananas are rarely the only issue, they are usually the first clue. Because if a healthy fruit like this can quietly harm aging nerves, what do you think happens when the sugar comes in even faster, in even higher doses, and informed seniors are told are good for them? If you're still watching and finding these insights helpful, please comment number one below to let me know you're with me. Now let's move on to point number two. Fruit number two, grapes, the small snack that quietly keeps your nerves under attack. It usually starts with a bowl on the counter or a bag in the fridge, and almost no one thinks twice about it. They're just grapes, people tell me. They're small, light, and better than cookies. And that belief is exactly what makes grapes so dangerous for aging nerves, because they don't feel like a problem while they're quietly doing damage. Grapes are one of the most misleading fruits for adults over 60. They're easy to chew, naturally sweet, and often recommended as a heart-healthy snack. Many seniors eat them while watching TV, driving, or standing at the kitchen counter. A few now, a few later. That pattern may seem harmless, but neurologically, it creates one of the worst environments possible for nerve tissue. Here's what's really happening. Grapes contain a high concentration of fast-absorbing sugar packed into a very small volume. Unlike fruits that force you to slow down, grapes slip past your internal stop signal. You don't feel full, you don't feel heavy, but your bloodstream feels it immediately. Blood sugar rises quickly, insulin surges, and nerves, especially the long, fragile nerves in your feet and lower legs, are exposed to repeated chemical stress. For older adults, this matters more than most people realize. Aging nerves depend on steady blood flow and stable internal chemistry. Every sugar spike increases inflammation in the tiny vessels that nourish those nerves. Over time, oxygen delivery drops, waste removal slows, and nerve signals become distorted. This is how mild tingling quietly turns into numb toes, burning soles at night, or that unsettling feeling that the floor isn't quite where you expect it to be. The real danger with grapes isn't a single serving, it's frequency. Many seniors graze on grapes throughout the day. A handful here, another later. Each small dose feels insignificant, but together they keep insulin elevated for hours. That means nerves never get a recovery window. Chronic exposure, not dramatic overeating, is what pushes nerves toward their breaking point. Another issue is timing. Grapes are often eaten alone between meals when blood sugar is most vulnerable to sharp swings. Without protein or fat to slow absorption, the sugar hits fast. Seniors often notice they feel fine at first, then oddly fatigued, shaky, or foggy later. What they don't connect is that these same spikes are quietly irritating nerve tissue in the background. I've seen patients reduce nighttime burning and improve balance simply by removing grapes as a snack, not because grapes were toxic, but because one constant source of sugar stress was finally eliminated. That's the key lesson here. Neuropathy doesn't usually come from one dramatic mistake. It comes from small, repeated habits that seem healthy on the surface. And if a fruit this small and innocent looking can keep your nerves inflamed day after day, wait until you understand what happens when the sugar load comes in even faster. In forms seniors are often encouraged to drink rather than chew. Fruit number 3, mango, the healthy treat that overloads aging nerves. It sounds almost unfair, doesn't it? A fruit that feels indulgent, tropical, and full of vitamins quietly becoming a problem for your nerves. Yet this is exactly what I see with mango, especially in adults over 60 who are trying to do the right thing for their health. Mango rarely raises suspicion, and that's what allows it to cause so much silent damage. Mango delivers one of the highest sugar loads of any commonly eaten fruit, and it does so in a form the aging body struggles to control. As we get older, our muscles absorb sugar less efficiently, insulin works more slowly, and nerves lose their resilience to metabolic stress. When mango is eaten, particularly in generous portions or blended into drinks, it floods the bloodstream with glucose. The rise is fast and the fall is often uneven. For nerve tissue, this repeated swing is deeply irritating. What many seniors don't realize is that nerves are extremely sensitive to blood sugar instability. Even without diabetes, repeated spikes trigger inflammation and oxidative stress inside the nerve fibers and the tiny vessels that supply them. Over time, this disrupts the protective insulation around nerves, causing signals to misfire. That's when people describe burning feet at night, sharp electric sensations, or a creeping numbness that makes walking feel less secure. Mango becomes especially dangerous in the way it's commonly consumed in the United States. It's added to fruit salads, mixed into yogurt, or blended into smoothies that are marketed as anti-inflammatory or heart-healthy. In liquid or semi-liquid form, mango sugar hits the bloodstream before the body has any chance to slow it down. Seniors often drink these blends in the morning or as a light meal replacement, unknowingly setting off hours of nerve stress before the day even begins. Another issue is portion distortion. A few slices of mango turn into a full cup very quickly, and a cup of mango can contain more sugar than most people would ever knowingly add to their diet. Because it's natural and colorful, the brain doesn't register it as excessive. But nerves don't respond to intention, they respond to chemistry. I've worked with older patients who insisted they ate clean, yet continued to struggle with worsening neuropathy. When mango was reduced or removed, many noticed fewer nighttime flare-ups and less tingling within weeks. Not because mango was the sole cause, but because one major source of repeated sugar overload was finally taken away. And this leads to an important realization. If a fruit that looks this wholesome can strain aging nerves so profoundly, what happens when the sugar comes not just fast, but fast and inflammatory at the same time? That's where the next fruit enters the conversation, and it surprises even the most health-conscious seniors. If you're still watching and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 1 below to let me know you're here. Now let's keep going with point number 4. Fruit number 4, pineapple. When refreshing turns into nerve irritation. Most people never connect pineapple with nerve pain, which is why it so often slips under the radar. It's bright, refreshing, and commonly associated with digestion and anti-inflammatory benefits. Many seniors reach for pineapple because it feels light and cleansing. But here's the uncomfortable truth I see in clinical practice. For aging nerves, pineapple can quietly push irritation into full-blown pain. As we get older, our nervous system becomes more sensitive to inflammation. Nerves don't just transmit signals, they react to their chemical environment. When inflammation rises, nerves fire more easily, more erratically, and more painfully. Pineapple contributes to this problem in two ways that matter a great deal after 60. First, pineapple contains a high concentration of fast-absorbing natural sugar. Like other sweet fruits, this sugar raises blood glucose quickly, especially when eaten alone or between meals. That spike increases inflammatory signaling throughout the body, including in the small blood vessels that supply nerves. For seniors already dealing with tingling, numbness, or nighttime burning, this extra inflammation can amplify symptoms dramatically. Second, pineapple contains enzymes that are biologically active. While these enzymes are often marketed as helpful for digestion, they can be irritating in sensitive systems. In older adults, this irritation doesn't always show up as stomach discomfort. Instead, it can show up as heightened nerve sensitivity, burning feet that feel hotter at night, stabbing sensations that come out of nowhere, or nerve pain that suddenly feels sharper and harder to ignore. What makes pineapple especially tricky is how it's commonly consumed. Seniors often eat it chilled on its own as a refreshing snack. Others add it to fruit bowls or desserts without protein or fat. In these situations, sugar absorption is rapid and inflammatory signals rise quickly. The person feels refreshed in the moment, but hours later they may notice restless legs, increased foot burning, or disturbed sleep. The connection is rarely made. Another issue is frequency. Pineapple isn't usually eaten in large amounts at once, but it's often eaten repeatedly, here and there, a few times a week. Over time, that pattern sustains low-grade inflammation. Nerves exposed to constant inflammatory stress don't get a chance to calm down or repair. Eventually, irritation crosses a threshold and symptoms escalate. I've worked with seniors who describe their nerve pain as suddenly worse for no reason, only to realize pineapple had become a regular part of their routine. Removing it didn't cure neuropathy, but it often reduced the intensity of burning and improved sleep within weeks. That's a meaningful gain when nerve health is fragile. This isn't about labeling pineapple as bad, it's about recognizing that after 60, calming inflammation becomes just as important as controlling sugar. And if a fruit known for being refreshing can quietly inflame your nerves, the next one we need to talk about may be the most dangerous of all, because it doesn't even require chewing. Fruit number 5. Fruit smoothies. The fastest way. Sugar reaches and damages aging nerves. If there is one habit I wish every adult over 60 would pause and reconsider, it's this one. What feels like the easiest, healthiest choice in the morning may be doing more harm to your nerves than almost any dessert. Fruit smoothies have earned a powerful health reputation in the United States, especially among seniors who want something light, convenient, and doctor-approved. Unfortunately, from a neurological standpoint, smoothies are one of the most aggressive ways sugar can attack aging nerves. The problem isn't fruit itself. The problem is liquid sugar. When fruit is blended, all the natural safeguards disappear. There's no chewing to slow absorption. Fiber is broken down. Sugar enters the bloodstream almost instantly. For an aging body with slower insulin response and reduced nerve resilience, this creates a sudden metabolic shock. Blood sugar spikes sharply, insulin surges, and nerve repair mechanisms temporarily shut down. Nerves are left exposed at the exact moment they need protection. This matters deeply after 60 because nerve tissue is already fragile. Long nerves in the feet and legs depend on steady blood flow and calm internal chemistry. Every sharp glucose spike inflames the tiny blood vessels that nourish those nerves. Over time, oxygen delivery drops, waste products accumulate, and nerve signals begin to misfire. That's when people notice burning at night, numbness during the day, or a sense that their balance isn't as reliable as it used to be. Smoothies are especially deceptive because they don't feel indulgent. Many seniors replace breakfast with a smoothie, believing they're giving their body something clean and gentle. Others drink them when they don't feel hungry, thinking it's better than skipping a meal. In reality, this often means delivering a concentrated sugar load to an empty system, one of the worst scenarios for nerve health. Another issue is portion blindness. A smoothie may contain the sugar equivalent of several pieces of fruit, but it doesn't trigger fullness. Seniors may drink it quickly and still eat later, stacking sugar exposure without realizing it. This repeated pattern keeps insulin elevated for hours, leaving nerves in a constant state of irritation with no chance to recover. I've seen patients with worsening neuropathy who were doing everything right except for their daily smoothie. When it was removed, nighttime burning softened, sleep improved, and balance felt steadier within weeks. Not because nerves magically healed, but because the single most efficient sugar delivery system was finally gone. After 60, nerve health depends less on intention and more on physiology. Drinking fruit bypasses nearly every protective barrier your body has left. And once you understand that, a much bigger question naturally follows. If these everyday habits are quietly harming nerves, how do you rebuild a daily routine that actually protects them and slows damage before it's too late? Protecting your nerves after 60, small choices that shape your future health. As we age, the body becomes quieter but also more vulnerable. Nerves that once tolerated stress now react strongly to small disruptions. Circulation slows. Repair mechanisms weaken. What once caused no harm can begin to leave a lasting mark. Neuropathy does not usually arrive suddenly. It develops in silence, often while we sleep, when burning feet, tingling toes, or electric sensations are most noticeable and most frightening. Nighttime is when the nervous system reveals what the day has been slowly doing to it. The deeper message of everything you've just learned is not that fruit is dangerous, but that context matters more than intention. Many seniors are doing their best, choosing foods labeled healthy, light, or natural, without realizing how aging nerves interpret those choices. When sugar enters the bloodstream too quickly, when inflammation is repeatedly triggered, or when nerves are overstimulated without recovery time, damage accumulates quietly. And once nerve tissue crosses a certain threshold, it becomes very difficult to restore. This is why understanding comes before restriction. When you understand how fragile nerve tissue becomes after 60, you stop chasing trends and start protecting stability. You begin to think differently about evenings, sleep, and blood sugar swings that happen while you're resting. You recognize that calm nights are not just about comfort, they are about preservation. Looking ahead 1 to 5 years, the choices you make now matter more than most people realize. Slowing nerve damage today can mean steadier balance, fewer falls, better sleep, and greater independence in the years ahead. It can mean walking with confidence instead of fear, and waking up rested instead of bracing for pain. Neuropathy doesn't just affect nerves, it affects freedom. The good news is this: while nerves heal slowly, they respond quickly to reduced stress. When you remove what irritates them and support what protects them, progression often slows. That window of opportunity is where real control lives. Aging is inevitable. Rapid nerve decline is not. Understanding correctly, adjusting intentionally, and protecting yourself early is how you change the story your body will tell 5 years from now. These lessons are meant to inspire you to live fully and authentically. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Take a moment to reflect and share one thing you've learned and plan to apply in your own life. Let's support each other on this journey toward embracing these truths. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment with 1. If not, feel free to comment with 0. Your feedback means a lot to us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content like this. Thank you for watching, and here's to living life on your own terms.